Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cinema D'Amore. Your host, Chuck, joined by
Justin.
We're back, moving on, talking about some new movies. Not new movies, they're old movies, but they're new to us. That's all.
It's a big day today. It's the day that we're recording. It's April 20th, a.k.a. Speed Racer is back in IMAX.
That's the highlight of today for you.
That's the highlight of probably the first half of the year. I mean, what are you looking forward to? I have an idea.
Just Godzilla.
Yeah. So Speed Racer, the first 3 quarters of the year for you.
It'll be a while. Before I get anything good there, but it's Godzilla. It's always good. Well, it's Japanese Godzilla. Japanese Godzilla is always good. American Godzilla, not always
That's
the
rough.
highest quality. But yeah, this time we're talking about the 2009 film Triangle. Really sucks in with that name. We need to cover all of our geometry related films. We'll do Cube next time.
Yeah, or Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah, there's the Circle. That's another one. I mean, we can just say as many shapes.
I never saw Cube or the Circle.
Cube's good. I never saw the Circle either.
I heard the Circle was not good, but unless we watch True Detective and listen to Russ Cole talk about time being a circle, we could do a whole podcast on that.
Might run out of shapes pretty quickly. I mean, I think there is one called The Square. I think that's another one I haven't seen, but I just remember there being a movie called Square.
Well, you got to start writing like the trapezoid now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Or like the Rhombus of Doom.
Rhombus of Doom. All our movies are just shapes.
They're all just shapes. They're really out there shapes that people don't think about often enough. But yeah, it's an interesting movie, and interesting in the fact the first thing that threw me off was I knew most of the actors in this movie are Australian, so I was expecting it to be set in Australia, and then it's in like Florida or something for some reason. I was like, I don't know why they wouldn't just set this in Australia and have them talk in their normal accents, but maybe they were trying to just appeal more broadly.
I guess. Is Melissa George from Australia too?
I think she's British or Australian.
She's not one of ours. That's what you're trying to say?
Sorry, her Wikipedia does say she is an Australian and American actress. She's both because she has dual citizenship, but she's from Australia.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I'm pretty sure most of the rest of them. I know Liam Hemsworth is Australian, and yeah, just looking at everyone else, they're all Australian. So just feels like, I don't know why they didn't just have them. Because I always feel like anyone doing an American accent, it can affect their performance. Like they sound more natural if they were just speaking in their natural dialect, the way they talk. But again, I don't know, maybe just because they were trying to like advertise this more to people in America, get people to watch it. So they made everyone be Americans. But yeah. They're on a boat called the Triangle, and it's like Gilligan's Island, except instead of the island they find an old steamship. They get lost. It was supposed to be a 3-hour tour.
I think it might have sold better if it sold itself as Gilligan's Island,
as a version of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, I feel like this is a maybe not always well executed movie, but interesting in the sense of where it goes. I don't think even where it goes all the time like entirely works, but
yeah, it feels like there's moments in it where it feels like that feels like a plot hole, but it's a time loop movie. Spoiler alert, that's what this movie is. They're in a Groundhog Day like situation. They keep reliving the same day.
Reason when you brought up just a few moments ago that they're mostly Australian, their acting comes off so weird. Like no character really seems to have any emotion behind them, and it could be a part of the bigger picture, but I would like to think that it was just poor choices all along the way. Like, there's a moment where, they they're on that sailboat that basically the storm comes out of fucking nowhere. It's it's almost very Lost-esque. Like, it's even a strange looking kind of storm, and then it hits them, and like you said, this boat saves them. They know there's at least one person on the boat, but the boat's too big for one person to run the whole thing by themselves. And so starts off very quickly like, we are not alone on this ship.
Yeah.
And like one of the first interactions that they have with the person that's on the boat is they hear this like clanking sound, and the person had thrown or dropped a pair of keys. And Liam Hemsworth, this is his debut film, I think, or close to it.
Probably. I mean, 2009, that would have been, I mean, was that even before, what year was Thor?
I think Thor was a 2010 movie or something.
So Liam beat his brother. I mean, obviously Chris Hemsworth's
Beat his brother.
gone on to much bigger things since then, but it does feel kind of surprising that a major movie was released in America. Like, again, it did not that it did super huge. I don't even know that it got a full theatrical run. Probably maybe limited release and then was in video stores. But it's surprising to
But
see a movie this old and there's Liam Hemsworth when everyone knows Chris more or less.
yeah, but I was gonna say that scene, and he's pretty much like this through the whole movie. He's like, "I'm gonna go check that out." He just kind of wanders off. Like, he almost seems like he's on drugs or something, and he's just like, he like he lacks any like emotion, but he's like going through the motions. And
There's
almost
an
every
odd
scene.
he has an odd relationship in the beginning anyway because it's very it can it's very odd when they first all get on the boat. There's Greg's the captain. That's his boat. He lives there. I guess he lives on the boat. They keep saying, or at least lives near it. And his friends Downey and I think Sarah's the other woman's name, or Sally, and
Yeah.
they bring another woman with them, Heather, and they're like, oh, every year we go on these boat trips, and they try to set me up with another girl, and like the guy's like, well, I don't know, you're the one living with an 18-year-old boy by yourself, you're the weirdo here, and it's like it's such a, and she even asks
Yeah, he says,
Melissa,
"Don't do you guys
Melissa,
sunbathe together in the
yeah,
nude sometimes?" And he's like, "Sometimes we do."
yeah, I think yeah, he like Melissa George asks him about, he's like, so where'd you meet Victor, and he's like, ugh, he's a runaway. I found him on the streets and asked him to come live with me. And it's like, it's like, what is this relationship? You found some kid on the streets and you're like, yeah, come live on my boat with me by yourself.
Right. And he instantly hates Melissa George because he's like, "She told me that she didn't bring her kid because he's in school and it's Saturday. Fuck that bitch." And I'm like,
No
"Whoa,
school's
what
on
what
Saturday.
the hell?" Like, that was a very intense reaction.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, he could be in detention or something without knowing anything about the child.
Yeah. Well, they say it's because he's autistic. So they're like, he's at a special needs school. They're open 7 days a week. So that's where he assumes she's at. But yeah,
He's like, "I'm
once
gonna
they
take
get
this
on,
anger into the rest of the movie with me."
once they get on the boat, yeah, it's all weird things happening with time. They find a giant buffet of food that looks brand new, but then later they come back and it's all rotted, like completely gone. So time keeps seemingly keeps going, fluctuating depending on where you're at what time. Sometimes she sees blood before the character should have been bleeding there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first twist, it was the worst twist because I expected it.
It was too obvious. Yeah, it's the first twist. Yeah, I mean the first twist being that it's that Melissa George is the killer because it points to her so frequently from the fact that when, yeah, like you mentioned, the character that's on the boat drops their keys and she's like, those are my keys. And it's like, well, how would your keys get on the boat? Like if you didn't have them, like who has your keys other than you? And then it's from there, it keeps pointing. And every time they're like, they said it was you. You're the one that did it. They keep saying it's you. So as soon as you get that first twist that she's the killer, it's like, well, yeah, no, duh. Cause everything kept pointing to her being being the killer.
Right, the keys. Hemsworth just comes out of nowhere, choking her.
Yeah.
What's that guy? Greg is his name? Greg?
Greg,
Gary?
yeah. Greg says that
Greg?
she shot him.
Yeah, they're like, he said this was you.
Yeah.
Get out of here! It wasn't me.
There is a thrown in there. The director does manage to work in a Shining reference.
Maybe a few.
I mean, yeah, there's could be some other. I mean, ghosts being on the ship, something like that. But yeah, there's a room 237. It's one of the rooms that they go into frequently.
There's an axe.
Yeah, I really like The Shining. What can you say?
He has a son. She has a son. I don't
Yeah,
know.
just connect it all back.
Yeah. Yeah, her first interaction with the killer who's wearing basically the burlap sack mask from Friday the 13th Part 2 and actually doesn't seem like a terrible killer, although a lot of the scenes up to that point and including that point are choreographed very poorly. So I'm giving the big picture the benefit of the doubt and not so much like the action sequences or like the person hesitates to shoot them, fights them off. My favorite shot in the whole movie though was probably when she was crawling over the balcony and the killer just chucked the fucking gun at her
Yeah, it's always
and
we get that
knocked her
scene
off.
replayed a couple times, and it's funny every time when they just
It's a
takes
really
that
good scene.
rifle and throws it at her. Yeah,
I mean, it's still one of the few times where like the killer or whoever in a movie has run out of bullets and throws
and
the
just
gun, and the
throws
gun
the gun.
actually
Yeah,
does something.
yeah. That moment is every time they replay it. That moment is funny in the movie. It cracked me up the first time, and but yeah, I laughed every time they did it again. But yeah,
Yeah, and then they do a thing too, like before the killer's killed, in the very beginning of the movie, pretty much. They're talking, and you can't hear what they're saying, but they definitely sound like Melissa George or like a woman talking
yeah,
real faintly or something. You could tell it's a woman in there, and I guess from there is whenever she starts to realize that she's in a loop. I mean, I guess at that point we don't know that it's a time loop. I knew this was a time loop movie going into it, so like I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. I still have questions about it, but I do like the idea of like, okay, now that she's seeing the perspective, now that she realizes that she's the person on the boat who they see in silhouette, how does she get to the point where she's going to be hunting people down, and why is she trying to kill them? And I don't know. There's a like I think shortly after that, there's that scene where she loses her locket, like down in a I don't
like a
know a
drain.
grate. Yeah, and it's like a ton of them, which just immediately tells you that this loop's already happened with her specifically at least 20 or so times.
Yeah.
It's happened a lot. And I do like that she finds out like quickly that there's not two of them, there's three of them cuz she's still like there's another person here that I'm not aware of who this person is yet. And it's like, oh, oh, it's me. It's like it's got to be me.
Yeah, there's a lot of implications that the loop happens multiple times before this, and it's like I guess it's sometimes who knows maybe at various times there's like four or five of them running around at any given time depending on how everything plays out. But presumably the one in the mask tries to kill them every time. But yeah,
I would say
it's
it's a solid 3. If it's a triangle, the movie's a
yeah,
triangle.
that's
It's
the
got to be a
triangle.
solid 3.
That's how many they have. Yeah, but even when she changes things, like there's the she thinks she changed the loop because she gets the one woman Sally away, but then Sally like crawls up on that balcony and there's like 30 bodies of her already laying there dead. So it's clearly even when she thinks she's changed the loop, it's like this is just an alternate version of the loop that still happens multiple times.
It's almost like it is still the loop. Like the loop happens and then happens again. I don't know necessarily if it happens a third time, but so like the sequences I feel play out the same every time. So like that couple that's with Greg, and the first time they get shot by him, the second time they live a little bit longer. And I feel like that's the loop for them, is that they kind of get looped into it twice. I mean, I guess they don't really know, or maybe it's like an alternating loop for them, or it's one thing then the next and one thing then the next, but they don't seem to realize or pick up on that.
Yeah.
So it is a loop to an extent, and then there's also weird pockets, I guess, where we get to see where like things accumulate. We see it with the one woman that I was talking, like when she's wounded and dying, and she crawls off, and it's like uh, I don't know, 40 of her, just
Yeah.
like I would
There's
be
that.
fucking.
There's a
I'd
moment
be so
where
terrified if I crawled around a
yeah,
corner and I was like a bunch of me were dead. I'd be like, oh shit.
she has that. There's like a moment where she finds the one guy Downey's body in the ocean, which it's like, is that a loop where he fell overboard at some point
Hmm.
or didn't make it, which keeps going in circles. Yeah, it does feel like it feels like there's parts where you'd think she'd be smarter when she knows she's in the loop. Like she should know how things play out, but then some things she still lets play out the same way when it's like I feel like you could have easily avoided that part of it happening again.
I feel like, I mean, we'll get more into the end when we get there, but I feel like when she gets on that ship, she forgets or something. Like when she first gets on that ship, her like brain's like rebooted.
Well, the first time, yeah, the first time she gets on, but when she survives, when we're talking about the original one that we first start with, and she kills the one version in the mask overboard, and then her other version is on the ship. Because I feel like at that point she kind of should start. She kind of starts to realize like what's going on, and she tries to fix things. But then there's parts where she like doesn't try to fix things. She just like runs up to Victor and is like, "We can fix this," and he just seems really confused as to why there's two of her there. Like he's like, "I don't understand what's going on, man. This doesn't make
But
any sense."
I feel like it loops like 3 times. It probably loops 3 times. I see
Mm.
2 cycles for her definitively. But when she gets back on the main ship, she kind of has deja vu and she can't remember, what was because if you take the idea that like this, she's experiencing this for the first time, or so she feels like she is, and she starts to realize that she's already there and that she's the killer, and that this has happened at least 2 dozen times. For some reason, when she gets on the ship, she kind of fails. She like can't she doesn't retain the information that she's not going to be able to remember when she gets on the ship for the first time. And maybe things do play out differently, but
Because I
I
think
don't
that's
see
well,
trying to.
that's where I think the loop starts is when she's on the boat and she wakes up and because she says like, "Oh, I had like a really bad dream." Like I
Yeah.
think that's definitely the start point of the loop. It doesn't start on the ship itself. It happens on the boat every time.
Yeah, but when it's the full start, I think that she doesn't like there something happens with her memory where she can't piece it together until it's too late, and she doesn't remember what she's done entirely before.
Yeah, she doesn't get Groundhog Day where she remembers every time previously.
Yeah. She like cycles through where she's like just one, just two, just three, and then when she's just one again, it's basically starting over from scratch.
Well, that's where I think some of it falls apart in some of the logic because by the time she gets to the point where she puts the mask on and she becomes the killer, and like that's what she's saying to herself at the end when she gets pushed overboard every time. She says you have to kill them all to like save yourself or something like that, which feels like it doesn't make any sense because what would just killing everybody do? Or then she says like she has to keep them from getting onto the boat, which again implies that the boat is the only place the time loop happens. Which I guess I feel like because she doesn't retain all that information. Once you get to the end, we learn that the loop is happening even off of the boat. It's happening when she's back on mainland. We can see the loop keeps happening. So I guess that's where she doesn't understand. So I guess I'm thinking about it being inconsistencies, but it makes sense in the logic of the movie that she just can't figure it out in time, like you're saying. She's kind of like doomed to just keep repeating the loop over and over, and
Yeah, I
she
mean,
thinks she
definitely
can fix it,
that's
but
the
then
theme.
she thinks she can fix it every time, but she just can't because she just can't
Right? Because
get
like,
enough of
you
the
would think that,
information.
"Oh, maybe I gotta try things differently this time," like, maybe I won't wear the mask, maybe
Yeah,
I won't pick up this gun, I won't try to kill him, try to talk to them and
yeah.
do
But
because like, even
something
that
about
mask, I'm
the
like, "How the fuck can you do anything in that mask?" Like, how the fuck can you see anything?
like the hateful eight.
That was, like, the one point in the movie where I'm like, "You literally fought this person in the mask who's you, and they died, so, like, maybe don't don't put that mask back on,
Yeah,
or have a better mask." I don't know, find some goggles or something, find something else.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
dude,
know.
it's an interesting, like you were saying. I don't think the execution isn't always there, but it's a super low budget movie. So for what it is, I think it works pretty well. And I do think the end kind of, I don't even want to say like fixes it or makes up for any shortcomings, but I do think the end works pretty well in like being a very good twist that partially maybe you see coming, but not exactly the way it plays out because going back, the end and the beginning tie in, but you can't figure it out until the end. Because at the start, she's at home with her son. You can tell even before Greg says her son's autistic that it seems like he has something wrong with him. Like he's freaking out while she's trying to like take him out of the house. She's like hearing things. She thinks her doorbell went off, but she can't figure it out who was there. And I did think from at the very beginning when she didn't bring her son with him, and we saw like the kid being weird and her trying to like calm him down, and then you see her just stuffing that bag into the trunk. I was like, did she kill her kid? Is that kid in the trunk of the car? Like I did kind of think that, and I thought it was weird, but then throughout the whole movie she keeps talking about, she's like, no, I have to get back to my son. I have to get back. You don't understand. My son's waiting for me. Which again, I guess is because she's lost her memory. She forgets about what happened. Damn it.
Yeah, she forgets, but that first moment where, like, she ends up back on the mainland, she's in Florida, obviously, I guess, and she makes it all the way back to her house, and the first thing you see is that guy cutting the grass, which would be, like, immediate, like, "Why the fuck are you still how the hell could you still be cutting the
Yeah,
grass, man?" And then you're seeing all this stuff from the beginning, so, obviously, the audience should already know that she's still in the loop, and then definitively, when you hear her speak, you know that she's there, and then you see that she's hell of abusive to her kid.
yeah.
She's, like,
She's a terrible
smacking him
mother.
upside the yeah, because like, they cut it together in the beginning, like, it's memories with the credits, so, like, she gets, paint on her, and she's like, "Oh my god, this kid."
Yeah.
But when you
And
see
she's
her
when
at
she's
the end,
carrying him
she's like,
out,
"I'm
she's
gonna
just like,
whip the
it's
shit
just a
out of this
mess.
kid."
Yeah, she's like carrying him out, and she's like, it's just a mess. It's fine. And you're thinking like she's talking about the paint spilled on the floor. And you're like, oh, that
Yeah.
kid's like freaking out a lot for just being paint on the floor. Like, but yeah, finding out later that yeah, she's the one. She came back to the mainland, kills her old self, and is like, no, I'm gonna be a better mother this time. Like I see I was a terrible mother before, and but now that I've survived all this, I'm gonna be a good mother. And but still fails. The loop continues on. She's still stuck in it when she hits a bird and then kicks it into the dirt, and you just see, yeah, like 30 or 40
The
seagulls all piled
seagull.
up.
Yeah. Actually, that's the moment that I think is, like, the best moment is that she thinks like, she's like you think she's on the run, and she's never done this before, and she hits that bird, and when she picks it up and throws it into, like, the ocean, and there's just a pile of them, it's just like, "Oh, fuck, I've definitely been here. I have clearly been here before." And, yeah, she's not paying attention to the road, and I don't know how she hits that car the way that she does, but they go flying. like, and that's like another thing where like the cuts are really weird because like the car's in the air flying. It hasn't even settled from the crash. And there's like a school nearby, and everybody's already running towards the crash. I'm like, you're running towards the
Yeah, yeah.
crash while the crash is happening. It's insane. And yeah, she's I don't even know what I see. This is where I start to get confused because so clearly she's dead, but the body there is her body that was in the bag
In the
that's
trunk,
somehow
yeah.
not in the bag. Like somehow
Yeah,
got out of the bag.
that's like how you're saying. Like, it's a very there's a lot of you have to really like suspend disbelief as to like how the body perfectly got out of the bag to be like no one everyone thinks that that's who was driving the car. Basically, they assume she was the driver and the kid was in the back seat when they pull him out of the when they find the wreckage. But it's like how'd she perfectly get out of the bag to be like that? So yeah, there's a that's probably one of the I want to
And
say
then
like
what the hell
worst
was
moments for
she?
like
Like I
trying
guess
to
she's already a duplicate or whatever,
yeah.
a triplicate. And then but she's already dead. So she's deceased. She's experiencing this hell, I guess, over and over again. And the Grim Reaper basically shows up. He's a taxi driver. And I think he's offering to take her to like the afterlife, but she wants a chance to save her kid
She's gonna keep
again.
trying to fix it again. Yeah, it's like it feels like that's what they're implying that that he's supposed to like take her away and like she's supposed to give up, but this is like her version of like a purgatory or something where she'll just like until she finally gives up or makes some sort of realization that maybe it's just better if she just everyone just goes their separate ways and
Yeah.
just leaves. She's just gonna keep repeating
If it is
the
a
same time over and
purgatory,
over.
then if it is a purgatory, then eventually she'd break the cycle, but I don't know how long that would be.
Yeah.
I also have a huge question about like who the fuck these other people are that are like the people that she gets on the boat with. Who are they dead? Were they alive? Are they I don't know when they die. Like I could imagine them dying on the boat and then they're all kind of in purgatory like you said, but when she's a ghost and they're a ghost, so maybe they're already they're all doing their loop from that point. Like they all have their own loop. Although the others don't seem to have the same loop that she does. Like they seem to have one singular loop. Or at least they don't remember when they're being looped.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just all fated to die. They're not part of the loop. They were just always gonna die on that boat.
Right. Or like if she's dead and it's her own purgatory and she's trying to figure this out, they aren't real people. They're just like part of the you know.
Yeah. I mean
But then
the
again,
only person
how would
she
she have
knows previously is Greg. Like she doesn't know who any of those other people are from like her normal life basically. Like that guy Greg just says he comes into the diner she works at to talk to her, but like they could all
Mhm.
be part of like her imagination. Like she doesn't know any of those other people other than Greg.
Yeah, like a dream scenario thing where it's you're dreaming about somebody that you only see in passing, you never really talk to, and
Yeah.
that type of deal. So okay, I can imagine that these people are more or less made up in her head. Maybe they're people that she's seen and she's like putting them together. I just kind of want to know like how
It's like the life of
where
Chuck.
did
It's
she
just her mind and she's just putting people that she's seen into roles.
Yeah, and what would that first occurrence on the road actually be? Beat the shit out of her kid, probably hit the seagull. That probably still happened, I would assume. And then she was probably like smacking her kid. I guess yelling at her kid, smacking her kid, because we know that she wasn't like, "It's gonna be okay, honey. That other person isn't here."
Yeah.
Maybe that kid's alive, and just her purgatory is that he's dead. So he definitely survived the car crash, and he's fine, and that's why the Grim Reaper dude's like, "There's nothing you can do about it."
Yeah.
Because you're dead and he's alive, or you could both be dead. Or
It's
they could
yeah,
it's like, what if it was the Sixth Sense, but everybody was dead and
everybody
nobody
dead.
knew? Everyone had their own little loops. Yeah, I feel like the movie wanted to be more clever than it was. Like the alpha omega stuff with the drum, and then the drum being on the boat kind of leads me more into the fact that, like, obviously her mind's piecing this together from something, although I don't know when the fuck she would have seen that drum. Like when as she was flying, like getting killed the first time. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, they definitely point out again, it's another kind of like a on the nose thing where the name of the boat's the Aeolus, and like the one character talks about that's the father of Sisyphus, and that's his whole thing is that he repeats the same thing over and over again. He's always pushing the boulder up the hill, and they ask like,
Oh yeah,
why
yeah,
did he have to
yeah,
push the boulder up the hill? And she says she can't remember. She's like, I don't know, something about that he cheated death or something. Someone cheated death in some way. So they do like hit you with that, but it's brief enough that it you don't think about it till the very end when she crashes the car and then starts to loop over that it like, oh yeah, this isn't just a simple it isn't just a basic time loop like a lot of other movies do where there's like more of a science fictional reason for them to be in the time loop. It does feel more like a religious or like uh, death type of thing where like you're saying the guy that's a cab driver feels like he's supposed to be Satan or death or something because he like lets her out of the cab and he's like, I'm gonna leave the meter running. You promise you're coming back, right? And he's like, yeah, I promise. And like it's her choice to get out of it if she ever can figure out to get out of the loop. Like he gives her the
yeah,
option. He never forces it on her. He's always just like, I'll leave the meter running. You promise you're gonna come back.
yeah. He doesn't feel like a bad guy. He just feels like he's doing his job. So that's
Yeah,
kind of like where I feel like he's a Grim Reaper type, where he's neither an angel nor a devil. He's just there to take you on. But actually, now that you pointed out, yeah, when that girl that said that she studied Greek mythology or whatever, but didn't remember the story, just enough
yeah.
of the story,
Just enough of the story to put there.
just enough of the story that you didn't learn the lesson.
Yeah.
So, so now you are doomed to repeat it. But yeah, I mean, I give the movie props. I feel like the special effects, the visual effects did not age well at all, but at the time, maybe they were impressive. I think they must have been because there's some special effects shots where they linger kind of like a long time, and I'm like, they're just like really impressed with that ship, like they like somebody rendered like way more of the ship than they thought they were gonna get, and they're like, hell yeah, the whole thing is going in the movie.
Gotta get your money's worth out of that shot.
But yeah, I like Melissa George. I think I've liked her in pretty much everything that she pops up in. Liam Hemsworth, I really feel indifferent towards him. Although if I saw him in this, I would probably never want to hire him in anything again. Like even that weird, like, what is it called? Is it Dirty Little Things, or they kill the hooker and then they're trying to hide the body? Is that what it's called? It's
I've
a
never seen
comedy.
it, so I don't.
They do the same thing happens though, where but his acting is so fucking weird where he's like, "Don't get so handsy. Quit pushing me." And she pushes him into that, like, I don't know, shrapnel or whatever the hell's piece of metal or whatever sticking out of the side of the boat. That's exactly what happens in the comedy that I'm thinking of. I think it's called Dirty Little Things, but like, yeah, they kill a hooker and then they're like, "Oh shit, we're gonna be in so much trouble." So the whole movie is like trying to hide this body. I mean, you want to do that next
Yeah,
to see if it's like, yeah,
I did see it.
but
So this isn't his first movie. His first movie is Knowing with Nicolas Cage.
by what?
I don't know. He was
A
probably
month?
just a background. Yeah, he's just in the background somewhere. I'm sure. Just
When we
another
worked at
kid.
Hollywood Video, Knowing was on the shelf. I don't remember if Triangle was on the shelf, but I remember trying. I
Pretty
do
sure it was.
remember
I Pretty sure it
people
was.
telling me about that movie, and I think most people were not happy with it. There
I
has to
can
be
see
some
most
reason
people
why.
being confused, like just not getting it and being like, I don't get it. Why'd she get back on the boat at the end? That doesn't make any sense. Why would she get back on?
I think it's confusing in the fact that like it does try to pack a lot in there. I don't think it nails everything.
Yeah.
Maybe it's choosing to be ambiguous in some ways, like, you figure it out. But yeah, I just I almost like the scenes where she was just by herself more than anyone else because I just like didn't feel any of these actors they like they almost didn't seem like they were in the same scenario as her. And maybe when you get to the end of the movie that makes sense. Like you could be like
Yeah.
their doll because that's just how she's imagining them or something.
Yeah.
But like I'd be creeped out if I was like, this is weird. I've been here before. There's somebody else here. And they're like, they're playing a joke on us. They're playing a joke on us. Our boat was flipped upside down and they rescued us and they're playing a joke on us. Yeah, they
They
do
like
it
to
all the
play
time. Be
pranks.
like,
Yeah.
I don't think so, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, they make a lot of dumb decisions that feel like, yeah, that's just what she imagines that they would do. Like Victor would go off by himself because he's a hot-headed guy or something like that. So she imagines he just does that. And like Sally and her husband are just kind of lazy, so they just kind of like they're just like we're just gonna like stay in the ballroom and just hang out until somebody tells them to do something else.
oh yeah, and Victor too. You get the scene that he talked about where he's asking about the kid. And so when they go to the loop, you see it and he's walking towards Greg, and Greg's like, "Is everything okay?" And he's, I can't remember how he says it. It's just like, "No, everything's not okay." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man! Like, you really take like I hate liars, and I can tell she's lying.
Look, I really wanted to hang out with that kid. I wanted someone closer to my age.
Maybe
I was
that's
told
what
there
it
was going to be a
was.
kid to hang out with.
Yeah, yeah, and that kid too. I do like her instantly like I gotta kill myself. So she
Yeah.
goes in there, starts hammering away at herself. And then the kid's there and she's like, "Oh shit." And then she's like, You're dreaming. It's just a dream, baby. It's just a dream."
Uh,
Don't have kids.
it's the moral of the story.
The moral of the story is just don't have kids. And if you suck, just stay on that boat. Yeah, I don't know. Imperfect but fun. It made me want to go back and rewatch some like other things that we've previously watched, like The Endless and stuff like. But I don't think I think those know when to be a little bit more ambiguous, and they come off a lot stronger. This kind of is more like entertainment beyond the lesson of, you know, if you don't learn things, you're doomed to repeat them. Quite literally. Hey, maybe we're all in purgatory right now. You would explain a lot, Chuck. Be like, Chuck, we're fucking dead. We have to break the loop. I don't know how.
Just trying every day to figure it out.
Yeah. It's on Peacock. That's where I watched it. It started off really weird, and I was like, I can't tell if this is artistic choice or if there's something wrong with the stream. And there was something wrong with the stream where it was like missing a frame, but it was like going through the beginning stuff with the credits. So I was like, is this like intentional? And then she gets out. Yeah, then it's like when she's talking to the neighbor, like, did you just see somebody out here? I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to continue to do this. If that, I also should have looked it up, but the score was making me think of Final Destination a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know who did the score. It wasn't a name that stuck out to me, but
I don't know who did the score for Final Destination. I just thought that it sounded similar. Like I feel like that first one, that the music really stands out, and I don't know if the other ones nearly as well. And I'm not talking about the John Denver. I'm talking about the score. I also did like in this movie. This is my last bit that I could think of. The record player, like the skipping record. And I did like that she skipped when she bumped the record and skipped the record, it jumped time to them had them looking around in the boat. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. For like 10, 15 minutes. She didn't have to like wait for them to get off the boat. Actually, that could have been one. Like, I needed to stop them before they got on the boat, but I hit the goddamn record player. And it skipped me. So leave that thing alone. But yeah, good double feature. I guess they had jack shit to do with one another. They're just two interesting movies.
Just two kind of like underrated movies that seem that for small budgets. I feel like both of them have the connection of they tried to do a lot with the small budgets that they had. I feel like Bone Tomahawk clearly much more accomplished with what it did with a very small budget. Obviously, still had a much larger cast of known actors from America. But yeah, both just movies that feel like movies that don't get made anymore, like tiny budget films that are at least trying to do something interesting. Now everything's either like it has to be the biggest movie in the world, or you still get small independent films, but not always with as much scope, other than like you were mentioning, like stuff like The Endless. Those two guys, I think, try to do a lot of really interesting stuff on a shoestring budget.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely horror that seems to be being able to play around the most with their movies. I want to go back and watch the trailer for this because I want to know how it was advertised. Like it could have sold me like it was a slasher movie. Like I could see a trailer being cut together where people got stranded, a boat saves them, but there's nobody else dead on the boat. I don't know, but I get to be like, oh shit, they didn't get saved. They're with a serial killer. So if you're a big slasher fan, you jump into this movie all excited, and then you're like, what? What? Yeah. What's happening? She's already there. This is a high concept sci-fi, or like more religious, like you said. Somebody's just like, I'm drinking my Bud Light. I'm not prepared for this movie. But that's all I got to say. I'm glad we watched something new.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks with my pick, whatever that is. I didn't decide yet. Chuck did go over a lot of shapes at the beginning of this episode, so maybe I'll pick a shape. we did. Then we'll move back into colors or something. We're a very highbrow podcast.
Not yet.
All right. Till then, thanks for listening. We're Cinema D'Amore. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with news and information on upcoming episodes. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, Alexa, or iHeartRadio. It would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to our podcast on your platform of choice. We also appreciate feedback, so rate us, review us, and let us know what you think. And above all else, thank you for listening.